right. Well, welcome. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. My name is Jenny Kovach, and I joined the EHE Foundation's board in 2018. So I guess it's been 5 years, which is crazy. Time flies. And I am currently sitting in the president role. I'm also, though, an EHE patient. So I was diagnosed in 2017. And I very quickly had a liver transplant. And right as I was healing the liver transplant, Jane Kovach, if any of you guys know Jane, I'm sure you do, she called me to see how I was doing. And then she asked me if I'd join the board. And then she'd asked me if I'd take the role of trying to raise money. And so I'll be honest with you, I was like, that sounds miserable, trying to raise money. I've never done that a day in my life. I don't like asking people for money, but we didn't have anybody who was worrying about it at that time. And so I knew that I needed to say yes because we needed research. And so I said yes. 5 years later, I'm sitting in the director of development role here at the foundation. And it's actually been great. And I've learned a lot about fundraising and a lot about sharing my story. So I appreciate her making me step outside of my comfort zone and doing this. Today, I am joined with my partner in crime, Amy, who works with me on the development committee and also has just become a very good personal friend. So Amy, I will allow you to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I am Amy Bagdadi. I am also on the board. I think I've been on the board now for a couple years. And am a patient as well. I'm going to apologize in advance. My dogs have just started barking because I'm speaking, I'm sure. But I was diagnosed with EHE in the fall of 2010. I had a very aggressive advanced tumors throughout my liver and innumerable nodules in my lungs. Very quickly had a liver transplant, very similar to Jenny. And my liver has been clear for the last 12 years. Have had no growth in my lungs for about 9, almost 10 years. Last 2 years, there's been a little bit of growth. I've tried a lot of different things. We're staying on top of it, had some surgery, some radiation, some chemo. It's stable right now, and I'm feeling really, really good. So I've been through a lot of different elements I'm sure you all can relate to, but I've had a really great 12 years. So looking forward to a ton more.
Thank you,
I'm
Amy.
happy to be with you all today.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Yes, and as Amy pointed out, she's been feeling good, and she's feeling good, right now. And so that's a call out we want to make, because we all know that sometimes with EHE you can feel really good, and sometimes you can feel really bad. And sometimes the best time to jump into helping support the community and do some fundraising is when you feel good. So with that being said, we're going to go over and jump into our agenda. I think we have a pretty good agenda for you today. We are going to just talk a little bit about the development committee. We're going to talk a little bit about impact of fundraising, and a lot of that is in the world of research, but I will tell you, we aren't going to go too deep into research today, primarily because Amy and I couldn't speak that deep about research. So, but we will share what we know. We will talk a little bit about how the community can step in and help support EHE research. And then we're hoping to have just some time for a discussion. So I see most people are muted. Thank you. If you just want to keep yourself muted when you aren't engaging or talking, that'd be great, because we have lots of things going on in our lives. Especially dogs, like Amy just pointed out. So before we jump in, I want to share what we do. What we do a lot of times at EHE is that we ground ourselves in why the EHE Foundation exists, and why we give our time for the cause. And so our mission is really to find treatment and a cure for EHE, and that's by advancing research and driving collaboration between patients, researchers, and clinicians. But why I give my time is the vision, right? Like we envision a world where EHE is very easily diagnosed and treatable. And I feel like we're going to get there. We're going to get there at some point. So, or I wouldn't be giving my time to this cause. So it's always nice to ground in why we're here. So we'll jump in. The development committee is a group that was formed after I joined the foundation, and I was tapped to kind of head up development. I knew that this is not something you can do alone. And so we really developed a committee to really bring in enough money to sustain our research and to sustain the foundation for long term. And so I have 4 other individuals that show up every other week. We meet, we talk, we discuss, we execute. And you've already met Amy. Leanne is on the call. She's going to talk a little bit later. Leanne has been a huge help for the development committee, and also supports a lot of the EHE Foundation type of fundraising that we'll go into here in a little bit. Denise Robinson, I don't know if Denise is on or not because I can only see one little screen, but Denise is our director of research and also a board member. And Denise is on the development committee and is super helpful. But the reason she's there primarily is because we can only drive as much research as we can fund. So it's really important to always have that research aspect on our committee. And then Tammy Silverthorne is new to our foundation. She's our executive director. She was trying to get on. She's at the beach on vacation, and she just told me she cannot get on this call. And that's okay, because I don't want her on the call. I want her on vacation at the beach. But Tammy is, she comes to us, and we're very lucky to have her. She comes to us with many, many years working in a rare cancer nonprofit foundation and growing and developing them. So we're bringing over someone who has a tremendous amount of experience. And so we're the team. We're the team that gets together, like I said, every 2 weeks. We do a lot that, we talk about grants that might be out there. We talk about fundraising within the community. But I'll be honest with you, sometimes we leave those meetings feeling a little deflated. And I'll tell you why we feel a little deflated. There is not a ton of money out there, government money out there, to support the rarest of rare cancer research. I would love it if you guys want to go out and Google and try and find some grants, because we would jump all over them. But we have a really hard time. And I usually spend a couple hours a week looking for grants, and I usually come up empty-handed, just transparently. We also have looked at a lot of large companies that give a lot of money to nonprofits. Most of those provide support to nonprofits that impact a larger population than what EHE would impact. So we have a really hard time finding funding, and our number one funding opportunity is through our community. And that's all of you guys. It's everyone on the call. It's everyone who has EHE. It's everyone who has a loved one who has EHE. It's anyone who's within our community. So we are actually in a pickle right now. It's a really good pickle, but I'll tell you guys, it's a pickle. We, for the first time ever, have more researchers interested in looking at EHE than what we can financially support. And that's a problem, right? It's a good problem. It's a way better problem than we used to have, which is we just couldn't find researchers that were interested in EHE. But now we have researchers who are interested, and we have so much important work to do, and we have limited funds to do it. So, but that doesn't mean we haven't moved the needle. So we're going to talk a little bit about the impact of our fundraising. So, Amy, I hate to put you on the spot, and I can't see you, but remind me, what year were you diagnosed with EHE?
I was diagnosed in the fall of 2010.
Okay.
There was no foundation and nobody doing research.
Did Google exist? Google existed.
Yes.
Did you Google EHE?
Yes. Yeah, we looked pretty deep. My husband found somebody in Europe who was doing some research, and he found Brian Rubin, and that was about it. And Jane. I believe he found Jane.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So think about this. just over 10 years. When Amy went and Googled EHE and heard about EHE, she went on, and there was very limited, if anything, on Google. Now there is. That's pretty amazing. And so what we've done over those, since the foundation started, and I won't take all the credit because we also have EHE groups worldwide that help us in these efforts, and we'll talk a little bit about them in a bit. We went out to researchers and we said, what do we need to do to start research and move this forward for this ultra rare cancer? And they gave us some feedback. And a couple of the things they said was, we cannot do research without information. And so just recently, we basically kicked off the patient registry. If you haven't heard about it, I'll tell you a little bit. But we've emailed people. It's on our website. We've posted on our Facebook page. The patient registry is really a fairly simple online survey where we would encourage any patient or any caregiver who can provide the information from the patient to go on and provide their medical information, their journey with EHE. Because once we collect all these things, we're going to start seeing patterns, right? And so it is really important that as much information as we can collect, we do, because then that's where we can start really helping support researchers in the research of EHE. But don't worry, I'm not kidding. We're a legit foundation. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We go through an audit every year. We have a lot of process and structure in place. We follow every HIPAA guideline. Okay. So I just want to make sure that you know that feel safe to provide this type of critical information.
Yeah, I want to just reiterate that. I know there's a lot of confusion about the patient registry and privacy. And just so you all know, this really, really critical information is kept entirely private. There are laws governing it. It's all followed. And it's absolutely critical. So thank you all for participating in it.
Awesome. Oh, sorry. Second thing we have cooking that you've probably heard about is the EHE Biobank. Oh, wait, before I move on, EHE patient registry is worldwide. Okay. So no matter where you are, if you can provide the information, please do so. The biobank I'm going to talk about today is US based. There is a biobank, I believe, in the UK as well. At the end of this presentation, I'll give you some contact information for other EHE foundations worldwide. But the biobank that I'm going to speak about today is US based. And that's only because there's just a lot of rules and regulations about moving samples and tissue and blood across borders. So we had to keep it within the US. But the biobank is physically located at the Cleveland Clinic in Cleveland, Ohio. And one of the coolest things about our biobank, and thanks to Dr. Rubin for doing this, him or one of his team members look at every single sample that is brought into our biobank to make sure it's EHE. Okay, and so I just want to call that out because not only are you, when you provide a sample, are you helping support research, you're also getting a second look at your sample, which is really important. And so these samples are basically collected, housed in our biobank, and then we are able to share them with researchers that are researching EHE. So that's really important because you can't research EHE if they don't have EHE to look at. And so our samples provide them that critical information for them to move research forward. So I would encourage you, if you have any type of procedure scheduled, or if you had a procedure in which you know they have samples located at a hospital, please reach out to us. We work with Patty. Patty is our EHE biobank coordinator. She's fabulous. She does some magical things where she can actually get tissue from hospitals, even when the patients have had a hard time. So please reach out to Patty. She could definitely help you. And by the way, your samples are also confidentially and anonymously shared, not a name tied to any of them.
Yeah, and I've done this, and Patty is amazing. She makes it super simple. My surgeries were at UCSF, and they can be difficult, I guess, to work with on collecting samples. So she just sent the boxes right to me, and I literally was wheeled in, with the collection kits on my tummy, and then the doctors took it from there. So it was really, really easy, and something I'd encourage you all to consider.
So in addition to the patient registry and the biobank, we have some really great movement in EHE research, like building models. And really, what does building a model mean? I'm going to give you my definition, which is I have very little information on, on research, but it's when researchers have developed like mouse models or cell models, which allow us to take a deeper dive into how EHE behaves and how established drugs might impact EHE. So it's one of those where it's like, without having EHE to look at, we're the guinea pigs versus allowing the tissue, allowing the mouse models to be the guinea pigs. So go ahead,
Sorry,
Amy.
Jenny. I know we're not doing a deep dive, so we're not going to go much further into research right now. But two things. One, our website has a ton of information on this. So I really encourage you all to do a deep dive on the website, and you can get a lot of information. We also are really fortunate today because we have Dr. John Lamar on the call, and he is one of our researchers. And so, Dr. Lamar, I don't know if you want to take just 1 second and let people know how fundraising has impacted you in your work.
Dr. Lamar does not know we're putting him on the spot, so.
Well, but you're muted, Dr. Lamar. And this was, oh. So sorry. He communicated in the chat, but I'm not hearing him. So maybe we'll go on and he can pop in later.
That'd be awesome.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, there he is. Yes.
Sorry, I'm in the car. So, yeah, I mean, it's first of all, I will start by saying I didn't start out as an EHE researcher. It was really a grant from the EHE Foundation that got my lab to start studying EHE. And so we study the gene that is mutated in EHE frequently. It's also mutated in a lot of other cancers. And so we got a small grant from the EHE Foundation, small for a research grant, but very meaningful. And that allowed my lab to start doing research on EHE. And by starting to generate data and models, as you've heard about, we've been able to kind of grow that research project. And now it's a major focus of what the lab is working on. And we work very closely with Brian Rubin's lab. There's been a lot of really important advances in the last couple of years in EHE. So that you've heard a little bit about models. So there's a mouse model now that we can use to study the disease. We have cell line models now that we can use to study the disease. And some of what we're able to do now is to take drugs that are already existing out there and test whether they can block EHE from growing, both in addition in a mouse. And that's one of the things my lab is doing. I know Brian Rubin's lab is also doing that. And so it's really the foundation support that has allowed all this to happen. First, that initial grant, and then subsequent grants that we have gotten from the foundation have allowed me to hire new researchers to expand my team. The foundation also supports another effort that we do, which is to raise awareness of EHE in the greater scientific community. So I am one of the scientists that host a workshop that focuses a little bit on EHE, but it brings in other scientists, and we've really increased the number of scientists that are interested in this disease by hosting this workshop, and the EHE Foundation has supported that as well. So the donations are super important, and I'll just second what was said earlier. It really does feel like this is a solvable problem. We kind of know what's causing the disease, and we just need to keep and we're at a place now where we have the systems and time. And I've sort of watched that transformation as I started a handful of years ago to now. It's amazing how quickly it's been moving. So I don't want to crash the rest of your meeting, but thank you for the foundation for their support. And I'm happy to answer other questions if anything comes up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Lamar. We appreciate you very much in the EHE community. So as I mentioned earlier, we're somewhat in a predicament where we have more researchers interested in EHE than what we can financially support. It's a very good problem to have. Every year we go out and do a grant request, and every year we see more and more researchers, asking for money. And so now more than ever, fundraising is critically important to the EHE Foundation and to the EHE patients. And so really, one of the biggest ways is fundraising is from our community, and that's really all of the people on this Zoom, all of the people that live with EHE or their family and friends.
Yeah, and when we talk about community fundraising and looking to the people on this call, we know that everyone's first reaction is extreme discomfort. When people think about asking for money, it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, it's crass to talk about money. But the reality is really different. And we are hoping that everyone can take a step backward and change your perspective a little bit, because we are all in a position where this ultra rare cancer has changed our lives or the lives of somebody very close to us. And it has affected all of the people in the community surrounding you, our friends, our family, our coworkers. They see what this has done to our lives, and they are looking for ways to help. Organizing a community fundraiser, and there are innumerable ways to do this, which we're going to talk about, but it's a really tangible way to allow the people in your community to support you and to help. It gives people an opportunity to get involved in something that is really, really positive and show support. So it can actually be an incredibly positive thing, and a wonderful way for people to help. And frankly, what we do know is that people in the United States want to help. In 2022, Americans gave almost $500 billion to charity. We are a very philanthropic community, and so the foundation's goal is to try and tap in to a little bit more of that philanthropic spirit and really find ways to help support this critical research that we've been talking about.
So thanks, Amy. Yeah, we want a bigger piece of the $500 billion pie, right?
Exactly.
So, the great news is there are so many fun and creative ways that you can help raise money for EHE, and two of these are EHE Foundation supported events that make things super easy to participate, and that's our Fun Run and Walk. And that's also Giving Tuesday. And there's more to come on these two things in just a little bit of time. But we also know that every person in every community has hobbies or interests that are different. So we're going to share some other types of events that we've seen people do that have really been successful in the past, and people have had a lot of fun and actually raised a lot of money. In addition to private events, there's opportunities for company matching. There are birthday fundraisers, and then lastly and simply just asking your community for support. So we're going to go into these a little bit more and share with you how the foundation can help support you in helping raise money towards EHE research. So this is our one big activity that people can participate in each year at the foundation, and this kicks off in the spring. And we send emails, we post on Facebook about this event, but it's basically our Fun Run and Walk. And so this is where patients, their families, their friends, their communities can come together and raise awareness and money for EHE research. You can be as creative as you want with the Fun Run and Walk. We have people who join together in one location and they do it face to face. We have people who their support network is all over the country, and they'll take pictures when them and their families walk the neighborhood and come together. So it's a really fun way. And what I love about it is it's also pretty cost effective. So I think this right here, this swag right here was from our Fun Run and Walk maybe last year. But for $30, you get an awesome EHE t-shirt, new design every year. You get your EHE temporary tattoos, you get some other swag, and it's a lot of fun, and it's really not a lot to ask someone if they want to participate for $30. So encourage you to do that. But I will have to say, we have some rock stars that have really stepped into this event and in the past and have raised a ton of money. And I love that we have one of these rock stars here with us today. That is Jennifer Ness. And Jennifer and her community raised $16,000 to help fund EHE research. And so Jennifer is going to spend a little bit of time with us today and provide us a high-level overview of just kind of why she did this event and how it happened and what it took to plan it. So thank you, Jennifer, for being with us today.
Sure. Thank you so much for Jenny and Amy for putting this together. This is fantastic to take the time to hear a little bit more about this. So as Jenny said, I'm Jennifer Ness. I was diagnosed in February. I am a PA by training, and I also have 2 small kids at home. And when I received my diagnosis, I, of course, did the same thing as Amy. I went to Google, I started looking up every type of research, anything I could possibly find to figure out more about this disease that I had never heard of, even as a medical provider. And as a medical provider, I think I also understood a little bit more about rare cancers, rare diseases, and how little funding they actually do receive. The community, family, friends, everyone were amazing, after my diagnosis. And as the women said, everyone wanted to help. And I think that was the best part, was that, people would come up and wanted to know about what was going on, how they could help, which was amazing and felt great. But it was also very overwhelming for me. As you all know, receiving a new diagnosis or having a loved one who has a diagnosis is a difficult time. And I was having a hard time as everyone was coming up to me asking about it over and over. So the fun run and walk was right around that time. And I decided to channel that and use that as a perfect opportunity for people to give back and have a way for them to help support me. So all these people who would come up, I would say, oh, well, actually, we are having a run. If you want to support us, here is the way to do this. I started off on social media. I hate social media. I'm going to say that, but I think it was incredibly helpful. I mean, people from all aspects of my life wanted to step in, from college, from high school, from, where my community. It was really amazing to see even what a difference social media did make. And that took 5 minutes to kind of put one post together and kind of include the link for that. And then I took to my community, which I live in a small community. I mean, they're absolutely amazing. This picture here is at my kids' school. And that was kind of the biggest driver, I think, of this fundraiser, was everyone in my personal community. I wasn't ready at the time because my diagnosis was so new to even put it out to more people. So I'm hoping for an even bigger event next year. But I mean, another way, again, I'm very active in the PTA. I know that they were willing to run things in their flyers, their newsletters, to kind of get the whole community involved. And people who have known me, I run the school's book fair. A lot of people know my name. So I feel like a lot of people were willing to help, as well too. So we ended up, I had 2 people who helped me organize the event when we decided to finally put this together. This was an absolutely gorgeous June day. We had someone who was in charge of the walk run part. So kind of just putting the course together, which we didn't have to close any streets. We kind of just made a course, and decided that this is where everyone was going to follow for both the run and the walk part. So someone helped me coordinate that. And then I have a wonderful friend who is a realtor who decided to help sponsor the event. And she's kind of done a little bit of this kind of work before, so that was helpful as well too. But she ended up, there's a couple kids in my kids' school who own different businesses. And so she was able to kind of solicit a brunch as well as some cookies. And we were at a local brewery as well too, which people enjoyed as well. So we were able to kind of have the whole community come together, and everyone wanted to help. Everyone wanted to donate. I mean, it was almost, there was more people wanting to help than we actually even had space for, which is amazing. And so we even have plans for next year of closing off a street, and kind of doing a bigger event. So I think I was really hesitant because I didn't want people's help. First of all, I mean, it was a lot and it's very overwhelming at first. I completely understand. But I was amazed and blown away by how much people really did want to help. So I think the hardest thing is asking, or kind of taking the first step forward, and then it kind of all comes together from there. on the actual day of the event. So we had all these people register before, and we raised about $12,000 doing the run and the walk. And these were family and friends from all over the country, plus a lot of people in the community. And then this picture, we had about 300 people come out that day for the run walk, as well as then the fundraiser at the brewery. What my friend ended up organizing was that she suggested a donation. She had the QR code out for the EHE website so that we didn't even have to deal with money, cash, everything kind of went through. And then she gave a suggested donation by having the breakfast, a beer, and a cookies, kind of what you got for the money. And it was a wonderful, uplifting, fantastic event. And I have to tell you, even on my worst days now, I look back to some of those pictures to see all the people who supported me. I mean, even just that is incredible and humbling and wonderful. So I was really, really glad we did it. And I have to tell you, I woke up that morning thinking, I don't want to do this. I can't believe I'm doing this. I don't like being the center of attention. I don't like being in front of groups. And it ended up that it was wonderful. If you see me, I'm in the picture in the bright pink shirt. I don't think I'd be wearing hot pink next year so that everybody can find me, but otherwise it was wonderful. I'm happy to answer any individual questions about the event too, and how to get started. Again, we just ended up having a huge group, and I was really lucky, but I think you can do it on so many different scales, like, Jenny and Amy were saying, whether it's a small fundraiser, whether it's a beef and beer, whether, there's so many different things. And like they said, people wanted to give and people wanted to help. And I think people even who didn't sign up ahead of time ended up coming to the fundraiser that day as well too, because they said, oh, we forgot, or we couldn't do this. And we kind of just gave them a couple different ways to give and to help. And I can't wait to do it again next year. So
thank you so much, Jennifer. That's just
Absolutely.
amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I know it gave a lot to your community as well. I'm sure they really benefited from being able to take part in that. So
absolutely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. The other foundation supported fundraiser that we do every year is Giving Tuesday. As I'm sure you know, Giving Tuesday is always the Tuesday following Thanksgiving. And it's a global movement that encourages people to support their favorite charities. People expect to give on Giving Tuesday, so it's a really good time to reach out. The foundation always runs a big social media campaign to encourage support for our community during this time. And it's something that we really love for all of our community members to get involved in. This year, our theme, this is a sneak peek, our theme is Champions of EHE. And we will be highlighting patients, donors, and researchers who are really making a big difference in the community. It is really easy to get involved, and you can do something as simple as sharing social media posts to customizing your own web page and really putting it out there for fundraising purposes. We have a really easy tool called Give Lively that allows you to create your own fundraising page, and Jenny will be talking more about that later. But generally, with respect to Giving Tuesday, we ask that people set up a page about a week in advance, and then really encourage people to make donations on the day of. It's something that everyone can participate in. As I said, people expect to participate in, and any level of participation is really, really helpful. And it's made even more helpful because the board of the EHE Foundation matches all of the donations that come in up to a certain level. So people can really double their impact on Giving Tuesday. So in addition to the Fun Run and Giving Tuesday, which are foundation organized events, there are a lot of private events that people can do, as you've heard, to support the foundation. And we are lucky to have Leanne Connor, our board member, who is the expert in all things fundraising, to talk a little bit more about the types of private events that people have done in the past. Oh, Leanne, you're on mute.
Hi, everybody. I'm Leanne. I've been with the foundation since its early days. So I've gotten to see all types of fundraisers, from simple online where you don't really have to do anything but tell your story, to large, extravagant, like Jennifer Ness did, or like the poster you see here, which is Good Vibes for America, which is an annual concert in Florida. The biggest part of this, and I'm glad Jennifer touched on it, is, yes, it is about raising money. It's raising money for cancer that everybody here has been or is affected by. But it's also about celebrating you. It's also about a huge part about raising awareness. And, you know, and Amy and Jenny can testify, and a lot of you on this call can testify that initially everybody wants to know, everybody wants to help. But once you've been doing fundraising for 5 years, people start to say, well, I think it's gone, or you're in remission, or you know, you're not sick anymore. How great. But the awareness, you know, the awareness part of it is huge because it's unpredictable. And once it turns aggressive, it's often deadly. So that part of it that no one really likes to talk about is a huge part of it. And that's celebrating you and celebrating. Some people do it with their cancerversary, you know, the day they were diagnosed. And some people do it with other groups, or just every scale. The biggest part of it, two biggest parts of it, I should say, are one is do something that is right for you. If you can't do a large scale event, you don't have the capacity, or you just don't have the time, that's okay. You can do something simple online by just sharing your story. But do something that you think your family and friends, and you in particular, will enjoy. The second one is, we are here to help you. Whether you need a poster, whether you need guidance, whether you need ideas, you know, we are not going to lock you into doing something that you're not comfortable with, but we have been doing this for a while. We know what works. We've done many ourselves, from golf tournaments to days out to dinners, you know, poker tournaments. We've done it all. So we are here to help you. If you need advice, you need whatever you need. I mean, if we don't have the capacity to do it because we're a small group, we'll tell you, but we are here to help you and do something that's right for you. All of us can do something, whether it's small to large and extravagant. Before I pass it back off to Jenny, I do want to plug Good Vibes for McKenna. McKenna passed away from EHE, and her tribe made a nonprofit, Good Vibes for McKenna, where they bring live music together to support EHE research. Last year, they gave us a check for $25,000, and it was a fabulous, fun, crazy, fun event. And it's in Port Charlotte early next year. You'll start to see some buzz around it as we share it. But Julie and I will be there. We'd love to see you there.
I will also be there, Leanne. So can't wait to hang out with you and Julie. All right. So thank you so much. Appreciate Jennifer and Leanne, you providing some detail to help people think through it. I think one of the things that came to mind, and Leanne touched on this, if you have EHE and you've had it for a number of years, or if your loved one has EHE, I am sure at some point you have heard, I am so glad you beat this. I am so glad your loved one is in remission. And I know that when I hear this, it's a great time to share my story. So one of the things that I always participate in is asking my community around Giving Tuesday for support. And it's also my once a year update to them on my journey. And so it has been mentioned a couple of times that Give Lively is a personalized web page. I will tell you, I am so not technical. Would never have in a million years thought I could set up a web page for fundraising for myself, but it was pretty darn easy. And I did get hung up, and then I called Leanne and she helped. So we are here to help you guys if you get hung up. But rather than just sending out a note around Giving Tuesday or any fundraiser, it's really nice when you get to share your story, because people care and they want to know how you're doing. And for some of us who have been lucky enough to have some stability for a few years, I also want people to know that this isn't a cancer you move on from, and remind them that we still need help and we still need support. So this is a very easy way to pull together a web page that's just about you end your story and to ask people to donate and help give. And they can give anything. I think they can give $5, right, Leanne? Like so it's not like we're asking for them to give a lot of money, but just, hey, if there's any way you could come up with, skip Starbucks for a day and help support with $5, that would be great. So anyways, it's out there. I tried to pull at the heartstrings with mine. I wanted to show that I still got a young daughter. I'm fighting this. We need your help. We need your support. So you can really make this yours. So we do have this ability. If you're interested, we're going to have information as we get closer to Giving Tuesday. But if you're interested in setting this up, please reach out. I will tell you, I got more than double what I would normally get on a Giving Tuesday because of this webpage. So, all right. With that being said, we're going to
add to that real quick that on our donation webpage, you don't have to wait for Giving Tuesday, or you don't have to wait to set it up. You can go right to our donation page and say, I want to fundraise for this. So it could be for your cancerversary, for your birthday, for anything. It doesn't have to necessarily be tied to Giving Tuesday. You can go on there, and it's super simple. It walks you right through the steps, but you can always call me if you need help.
Thank you for calling that out, Leanne. And I'm actually going to show our website in a second, so I'll make sure to share where that is. All right. So did you know that there are so many companies that match? So if you are an employee or you know somebody who is an employee that provided a donation to the EHE Foundation, please encourage them to ask their employer if they match donations. There's actually companies that match it, double the match, or even triple the match. And so it's a really easy way to take a $50 donation and possibly turn it into $150 or $200. So the great news is we've just recently partnered with Double the Donation. And basically what that is anytime someone gives to the EHE Foundation, either through your Give Lively site, through the foundation website, there will be a prompt there where people can put in their employer, and it will tell you what the matching gift program is. And so I would encourage everyone to take a minute, check that out. I will also tell you that not all employers are listed, especially smaller employers. So even if you work for a smaller employer, there's often times that they will still match, but you may just have to ask the HR department or somebody within the business. All right. And then this is this kind of digs into a little bit. We'll spend a little bit of time here showing you the tools and support that we have for you on our website. But as Leanne mentioned, and as Amy has mentioned, and as I've mentioned, you can also just call or email us. There's 7 of us on the board, and we are all very engaged in the foundation, and we'll jump in and help you in any way that we can. So, but if you go to fightehe.org and you go under Get Involved and fundraising tools, there are some really great tools out there to help you. And I'm actually going to go to our website, and I hope I don't totally mess this up here trying to unshare and reshare, but we'll give it a shot. All right, 1 second, share screen. You able to see the website? Woohoo! All right, awesome. This is our home page. So one of the first things I want to hit on, because I don't want to forget that Leanne just mentioned, is if you go over here to donate now, you can go right down here to I want to fundraise for this, and it will take you to that Give Lively, and you can set up your own web page. But what I want to jump into today is under Get Involved. You can go to Fundraising Tools. And we have some pretty awesome information out there. Which, by the way, before I jump into the information, there's a picture of me a number of years ago right here. Hopefully you guys can see it under the red circle. I had an event, and guess what? I met another EHE patient at my event. So it is amazing what these events can bring together for you. So that's Cedric, and we've become friends. So anywho, under the pictures, you'll find fundraising, and in here is a fundraising toolkit. And this is an awesome tool for you to look through. Really, if you just scroll down, it is a great way to just give you tips and pointers on how to go about doing a fundraising event. It also shares what we can do as a foundation and a couple things on what we can't do, which provide insurance or liability coverage, those type of things. But there's a lot more we can do than we can't do. Right on the bottom of this is our 1-800 number and also Leanne's direct email. Leanne spends a lot of her time supporting patients and caregivers on fundraising events, and we appreciate that so much, Leanne. We have a very nice outline of steps to a successful event that will walk you through the steps that you need to take to really pull together an event. And we have some fundraising ideas. These are things that people have done that have been a lot of fun. Everything from silent auctions to dodgeball, that would be fun. Community yard sale, craft sales, lots of ideas here. We also have in here some guidelines. We'd like you to just read the guidelines around the third-party fundraising. And then lastly, we have a fundraising proposal form. You can always email or call us, but if you do have an idea of something you want to do, you could also fill out this form and share it with us. And it really helps you walk through the event and think about it and kind of plan it appropriately. So, and it allows us to help you and hopefully having a very successful event. In addition to the fundraising toolkit, we have some information here for sponsorships and grants. I'm really excited to share our sponsorship packet with you because it's something that we just put together this year. It's out here in a PDF. You can download it, email it to people in your community. This is a great 8-page summary of the EHE Foundation. What is EHE? Our impact. It goes into research. It goes into a little bit of our spending and our initiatives. I would say that it is a Cliff Notes version of what we've done at the foundation. And it's a really nice way for people to understand EHE and how their donations could impact EHE. So that's out there. And then I know I used that sponsorship packet and I sent an email to my community. And I said, hey, thanks so much for helping out in the past. I want you to check out what we've been doing. We could use additional support. But not writing those emails aren't always easy, or sending the note for an ask. So there is also a sample letter here that you can pull pieces from asking for support. And so all of that is right there on our website. And so I would encourage you to go out and check out those tools. And before I hop off the website, under patient services, this is where you can find the patient registry and the biobank tissue donation as well. So we got lots of good stuff out there. I'd love for you to take time and just look around. And I'm gonna try and do this again. Let me go back, share screen. Okay. All right. So with that being said, we've talked at you for 50 minutes. So just want to ask, open up. There's enough of us, or there's so few of us, not too many. We can just turn off the mute. And do you have any questions? How can we help you better? What's holding you back? Just let us know what you're thinking.
I would love for not to put Ellen and Rainey on the spot, but I see Ellen and Rainey are here, and Rainey was recently highlighted on our Facebook page because her brother passed away from EHE, and her youth club is doing many fundraisers over the next several months. And it's just a really good example how something small can make a big impact. And in the chat, I actually put their Give Lively page, which we helped them create. We helped them do a poster and stuff like that. But if you don't mind, Rainey, I mean, it's a small group, and yes, this will be all over, you know, the internet, but do you feel comfortable sharing just a little bit about, you know, what your fundraisers mean to you?
Yeah. So, like you said, my brother passed away in 2019 from EHE, and that affected our family. And ever since that, I wanted to help fundraise to get more research around it so more people don't have to feel like this. See a loved one get this cancer because it's so rare. I've done many fundraisers in the past. The most recent one I'm doing is pot can drives. Coney fundraisers where we cook Coney hot dogs and all proceeds will go to the charity. And
He has a car wash schedule.
yes.
More Coney fundraisers coming up. She has a hot chocolate thing scheduled.
And we're going to be making blankets and donating them to people who are
Going through chemo up
so
at
they're not cold.
through U of M, because her brother was extremely cold when he was going through chemo and radiation. You did, she's done 2 other fundraisers for EHE earlier. Rainey's very young. She is just turned 18. So her first one was a month after her brother died. And that's where it was a unique one. And I wish I could remember the name of it, but she was nominated for giving back to her community. And so each person who voted for her, they paid. And so she was, I think she made like $500, but you know, 4 years ago, that's what puts her at 14. And then another one she did in one of her youth groups, she did during her term, and it was about the same. So we're hoping this one will be more than that, but it's a bunch of teenagers working together, helping each how do I explain it? In her youth group, the person that goes up to the highest station, which is what Rainey's at right now, they get to pick their charity. So for the next 6 months, she'll be doing work and fundraising for EHE cancer.
Another fundraiser we've done is coin drives, kind of like passing the basket around at church. You just grab a little bucket and you pass it around people and they put money in.
Yeah. So little things. I mean, it's definitely not like $16,000, but when you combine all the little things, it can add up.
Yep. Well, and
Absolutely.
Rainey, you don't know this, but you're kind of a celebrity at the EHE Foundation. We've all heard a lot about you and the time and commitment that you've given. So thank you very much. And Ellen, I think that's a great point. Any amount, anything is helpful. And so appreciate you guys so much. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Good.
I'd also like to plug Dr. Lamar real quick. You know, although he gets money, you know, for grants that like he spoke, he also fundraises. He made his own team for the fun run. And he got all his coworkers to donate and join his team. You know, so, you know, I think we always say like every little bit helps, and it really is, you know. We know that cancer is a financial burden on a lot of families, and a lot of families don't have money to give because their financial burden on themselves is very heavy. But we've had several people, especially some of our sponsors for our fun run this past year, they said, hey, I can't give, but I have an old friend that I'd like to, or my employer that I'd like to reach out to be a sponsor. And so they weren't able to give, but they had one connection that was able to sponsor the event. So thinking outside the box and thinking, you know, like, how can I help my own cancer? How can I help the own research for my own cancer? Is really what it's about.
All right, just to make sure I'm keeping us on time, and it looks like we have about 2 minutes left. I did want to call something out. A lot of the research that we talked about today, we actually, the EHE Foundation provides research grants and funding to researchers throughout the world. And so as much as we would love any support to the EHE Foundation, I do want to mention that we have some really great partners that have also foundations set up in other countries. And so we have the EHE Rare Cancer Charity in UK. And a lot of you probably know Hugh. He is fabulous, and that foundation drives a lot of research forward and supports and helps us, and also is a big part of communicating through the pledge on what's going on in the world. And then we have the EHE Rare Cancer Foundation with Jono and Jane, and they have done some pretty amazing things there. This, by the way, we will send out this PowerPoint, and these are direct links to those nonprofit websites. And then EHE Italia, and unfortunately I have not been able to meet anyone from EHE Italia, but I do have the link, and I believe that Andre is a big supporter of that foundation, part of it, and so wanted to also provide that link. And then lastly, Fiona in Canada has been a huge help in fundraising, but also in patient support. And she is very, she's on this Facebook support page. So if you need any help finding somebody within your own country, we're here for you as well. There is no competition in the world of moving EHE research forward. So we wanted to ensure that if you're out in another country, you do have those contacts. And then our last slide was just thank you. It's Saturday. It is in some cases the middle of the day, some others very early. Thank you for giving us your time and for being so thoughtful. And for those who have stepped into fundraising, we could not do this without you. As Dr. Lamar said, I think we're moving forward in a way where our vision of easily diagnosed and treatable, it's within reach. We just need to get there. Amy, any words you have?
No, I would just echo what you said, Jenny. Thank you all so much. And together, I think we're going to make great strides and do great things. So thank you for listening to us today.